This is The Download from Sounds Profitable, your daily source for the essential news of the business of podcasting. Brought to you by Spreaker from iHeart. I'm Gavin Gaddis. Here's what you need to know for today, Tuesday, July 2nd. First up, YouTube sees brand fans move from consumers of culture to shaping it. Last week at VidCon, YouTube debuted the 2024 edition of their Culture and Brands report. Brand fans are a key character in the survey, with 80% of fans using YouTube to consume content at least weekly about the person or thing they're a fan of. And those fans are evolving from passive content consumers to content drivers themselves, such as the Has Been Hotel fandom. Fans stream the series' YouTube pilot enough that the show is now a successful Amazon series, along with its spin-off Hell of a Boss. As last year's podcast landscape study found, 41% of podcast audiences would love to listen to a show specifically about a favorite brand or product. Brand fans have powerful potential, and podcasting could benefit from serving them. Next up, Google TikTok ban ads from ADHD telehealth company amid federal probe. The two tech giants have banned Dun Global from running ads on their platform, prompted by a federal crackdown on the telehealth company's distribution of medication. The core issue for advertising: Dun lost its third-party certification required to advertise on platforms like Google and TikTok. According to Podscribe data, Dun had a presence in podcast advertising, with the bulk of their spending cutting off suddenly in Q1 of the year their certification expired, with only two sub-$5,000 campaigns popping up since then on Podscribe's radar. Next up, Instagram and TikTok users aren't going for news, Pew finds. New data from Pew Research finds less than half of users on TikTok and Instagram regularly visit those platforms for news content. 68% of news consumers on TikTok say they get that news from influencers or celebrities rather than traditional news outlets. A stat that bodes well for podcasting, especially news-focused video podcasters who disseminate bite-sized clips of the show onto platforms like TikTok and Instagram. Next up, a joint effort: how Wells Fargo sets expectations for how it works with influencers. The Digiday podcast interviews Nicole Dye Anderson, SVP/Head of Media Relations and Influencer Strategy at Wells Fargo. For Anderson, the concept of influencer is a broad umbrella that stems from traditional celebrities to media personalities. As traditional news media shrinks in new media landscapes, audiences are going to influencers for their latest news, reinforcing the Pew data up above. And Wells Fargo wants to engage with that intersection of audience and influencer. Finally, Steve Bannon's War Room podcast to continue while he's incarcerated. Breitbart News co-founder Steve Bannon surrendered to a Connecticut federal prison on Monday to start a 4-month sentence. Before incarceration, Bannon announced his politics chat podcast, War Room, would continue uninterrupted with a slate of guest hosts, ranging from sitting politicians like Marjorie Taylor Greene to right-wing firebrands like Peter Navarro, once he finishes his own prison sentence for a similar contempt charge on July 17th. The story has been covered by Newsroom, Vanity Fair, The New Republic, and Mother Jones, links to which are available in the newsletter version. As for the rest of the news, Libsyn Ads have published June's average podcasting rates, with the average cost per 1,000 impressions for a 60-second podcast ad reaching $21.9, up from May but down 6 cents year over year, with a $21.96 average last year. Adweek covers how NBC Universal is setting up blue-chip advertisers for Olympic success. Digiday takes a look at how Carl's Jr./Hardee's is making CTV a performance channel. Nielsen data finds the CNN presidential debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump only pulled in 70% of the traditional TV audience it did in 2020. And programmatic is maturing and finding its seat at the annual upfront table. Be sure to check out the links to every article mentioned right in your podcast listening app or at soundsprofitable.com, where you can also subscribe to the newsletter version. The Download is written and produced by myself, Newton Shuttlecotti, Brian Barletta, and Tom Webster. This episode is hosted on Spreaker. For Sounds Profitable, I'm Gavin Gaddis. Download us again tomorrow.